This is it, people. This is what you've been waiting for. This is Everyday Celebrity Podcast. The podcast for everyday people with everyday problems, trying to find everyday solutions to accomplish everyday goals. Let's start the show. You. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Celebrity Podcast. Today is a special day as I got three guests with me. We're going to have like a nice, great debate about all topics going on in the country right now. I want to get a black... I didn't want to make this a race thing, but, that's what's going on in the country right now. So I want to get three men of different backgrounds, different races, and get their viewpoints on like the shit that's going on in the country. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Please tell the people where you're from, your name, and your occupation.
Hey man, I'm Jackson. I'm from Oakland and I'm an electrician.
I'm Dirk. I live in Alameda and I work in e-commerce.
All right, my name is Daniel, DH. I'm a business owner and I run a couple of different businesses. I'm from Oakland, California.
Okay, so how old is everyone here?
This is Jackson again, and I'm 48.
I'm turning 44 next week.
I'm 39.
Everybody got kids?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone's married?
Yes.
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
Nope.
What happened to that?
We weren't happy.
This a recent separation?
No, we split back in 2010.
2010? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How old is everyone's kids?
Mine is 17 and 16.
Jax, bring the mic closer to you.
My son is 17 and my daughter is 16.
Okay.
My son's 11.
I got a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, 13-year-old, and an 8-year-old.
And one of your sons is in the music business?
He dabbled in it a little bit, but nah,
He doesn't do it anymore?
Nah, he's more of a trying to find himself.
Okay.
Trying to find himself for the most part.
What are some of the hard things about fatherhood, do you think? Based on what you were going through when you were growing up, is it harder or different, do you think?
Things are different. Things are very different from how I grew up. I grew up in the 70s and 80s here in the town. So, things were a lot different back then. And
what do you mean by different? What was the differences?
Well, Oakland was thriving in a different kind of way. Right now it might be having an economic resurgence, but that's a lot of the gentrification that's going on. We had a lot of middle class families that were of color, of many different backgrounds, of every different background, and that's what made Oakland so great to me. And now I see a lot of families getting pushed out. The rent's high, the property value was low until, they push everybody out, and then they buy it cheap, and then they develop it. Things are different.
Okay. Yes, what do you agree?
To a certain extent or whatever, the kids these days have it. They have access to more information than we ever had. So it's almost like a microwave society for them. So they want results quick and fast, and if they don't get the results quick and fast, a lot of them give up. A lot of them change. A lot of them wonder and stuff like that. Like these kids today or whatever. They didn't grow up with the hustle and grit we had. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I went to school in Berkeley, but I lived in East Oakland. So every day I'm catching the Barton bus every day. Nowadays, these kids will call you and ask for an Uber. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a totally different scenario situation. And, the kids today, it's not their fault because it's the era. Like, we didn't even have cell phones. So they have everything access. It's right there in front of them. And it's like, so now they getting all this information pushed into them, and then trying to find themselves in so many people, so many different directions that you could be pulled in. And then, like, as a teenager, you know, like I'm saying, you talk to your partners and you like drift this way or that way. Nowadays or whatever, you could drift whichever way just by having a cell phone. You know what I mean? So it's hard to be, I mean, like you said, the question or whatever about fatherhood or whatever, it's hard to decipher through all that and still like see your child growing into themselves without you trying to just lead them the direction you want or whatever the case may be, because they still got to find themselves and they still got to grow and understand, and they got to make mistakes. We can't always save them.
Dirk, what do you think is the most toughest thing about fatherhood?
I'm probably seeing my kid go through a lot of the same frustrations with the educational system that I felt when I was a kid. And he's got ADD. I had ADD. I didn't get diagnosed till I was 18. I saw all the symptoms that I had in him. And so, we got him checked out for it, but he's not on medication for it or anything like that. But yeah, it's just like the educational system, the way that it works is, and he's a smart kid, but it's not designed for how his brain learns things.
When you were a child, did your parents take you to a doctor for your ADD? You just said you weren't diagnosed. But
not until I was 18, actually 17, but it was the summer after my senior year of high school.
Why do you think they never did something about it?
The funny thing is my mom's actually a psychologist. She always mentions some old fairy tale called The Shoemaker's Children, which I don't know what it's about, but I gather it's about a shoemaker that couldn't make shoes for his kids for some reason. Something like that. But, my parents are both academics. I think that they just weren't on the lookout for it. I mean, I tested well, so they just figured, well, he's just not trying hard enough.
I think, too, back in the day, I'm a little bit older than you guys, but back in the day, people didn't really know about ADD or different kind of mental health disorders. I mean, it was kind of a stigma, I think, back in the day. You just definitely didn't want to be classified as crazy, and, maybe especially in the communities that I'm from. But I think in any community, really, you don't want to be classified as crazy. But still, I don't think it was a big thing about ADD or ADHD back in the day when I was growing up. People didn't even know about that. Now, with social media and cell phones and, widespread information, a lot of that information is pretty much out there, whether or not it's, my son tries to, this is something else I'm going through, man. My son is dealing with his own emotional issues right now with COVID and just graduating high school. Trying to find his place in the world as a young man is hard. And I think a lot of young people these days are using mental health as somewhat of a crutch, but it's hard to kind of discern whether or not they're bullshitting and trying to just get their way, or it's a real issue for them and they really need help. And you definitely don't want to err on the side of not taking it seriously.
It can be tricky because, it's very easy if you have a real mental health problem to then make your mental health problems everybody else's problems.
Right.
And, I think that you got to be real careful where it's if somebody's got a mental health issue, you got to take that into account and you got to acknowledge that there's going to be symptoms to that. But at the same time, you got to be, clear about hey, just because you have a mental health problem doesn't mean that you're automatically a good person.
Right. Or it excuses you from bad behavior.
Exactly.
Right.
That's your cross to bear and nobody else can bear it. And you got to make the most of it and you can help and support people through it. But, at the same time, I've definitely been in relationships with people who don't really have that sense of responsibility, like this is something I have to deal with and make the most of, but are very, very happy to use it to excuse their bad behavior when it's convenient.
Yeah, I think we all got mental issues to a certain extent, or some sort of bipolarism, or we can go through mood swings, or the world can affect us in different ways or whatever. It's just about like if you have to understand first off yourself. Like finding yourself and understanding yourself is one of the biggest things in the world, because you don't want to be confused, or you don't want to feel like, oh, I'm so different than everybody else, or nobody understands me or whatever. Sometimes it's like having somebody to talk to. Maybe it's a therapist, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's an older friend, a friend who's doing stuff or whatever. Like, so it's not always, I feel like, that it has to be something that is so detrimental, because sometimes through trauma comes great success. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we all gonna go through something, and that's what I think a lot of the kids don't understand is everybody going through something. Like it might not be specifically what you going through, but we all facing different battles every day. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So like I'm not pushing yours to the side or nothing or whatever, but listen, you gonna have to fight through this for yourself to a certain extent, and I'm here to help you, but I can't be the person doing the fight. You know what I mean? Like, so.
And the thing too is that like we all grow through whatever it is that we have to overcome.
Yeah.
You know, that's an opportunity. You know, on the individual level, I think that's one thing I always try to say to my kid is like, because he gets real frustrated when he doesn't like get something right away, you know, and he's got that short attention span. And so, you know, he wants everything to sort of be like a video game where you can just like pick it up and get through the tutorial in 10 minutes and then basically have control over this whole environment. Right. Whereas it's like other things where it's like, no, you just got to practice and you got to mess it up before you're going to get it right. The tolerance for that, you know, is what, you know, I really just try to say it's going to be worth it. Yeah. You know, when you get over it, when you get that thing done, that you hit that goal, you know, and you feel like what it's like to win, you're going to like it. And you're going to be like, yeah, I did all that work and I did it. Yeah. And you're going to feel good about it.
Yeah, that's why that cancel culture is whack, because, you know, it makes the kids or even grown folks afraid to fail.
What's it called?
That cancel culture.
I don't even know.
Like when you mess up.
Oh, you must not be on Twitter.
People come for you, you know, and you just cancel.
Okay, yeah.
You know, we got to give people room to grow. You know what I mean? Like everybody makes mistakes.
So let's start on this. Let's stay on this topic, the cancel culture. So who was the last person? Just a recent article came out of this guy, Goyo. Have you heard of the Goya? The Goya
the
foods?
Beans.
Goya Foods. Have you heard of that?
Goya beans.
So he
they don't really have it out here though.
He came out giving Trump props or something, like he wants to support Trump. Right. And now everybody wants to cancel him. So, do you feel that it's right, for example, if someone like a basketball player, for example, if they look back in his past history when he was like 17 years old and he had like a bunch of racist tweets, do you think it's okay now for people to be like, yo, you're canceled? Or do you just say he was young and that's not him anymore? Or do you think, oh, you said it, so that's how you really feel? But the only reason you're saying you're sorry is because everyone is on your ass right now.
But I think it all depends, okay? Because like somebody could do something at 17 and grow from that mistake, and you 30 years old now. But if you still have the same ideologies you had at 17 and you 30, but now you just apologizing because people know your ideologies, now I can't fuck with you like that. You feel me? Right. Like, but it should be a pattern of what you said at 17, and then I've done this for the last 13 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just say, oh yeah, I thought this at 17, but then you start looking at a whole bunch of different little shit and be like, yeah, that's still what you thought at 17, at 25.
Some people learn stuff in the old age, though.
That's true, though, but
just imagine you got a racist ass person. Yeah. Whoever from whatever background. Mm-hmm. And they end up having a son or a daughter or a grandchild from a mixed relationship,
Okay.
whatever that be, and they find an epiphany and love and understanding off of that.
Yeah.
Even at an old age, I mean, it might not be the normal, and it might just be something I'm just making up off the rip. But you know, I'm just saying, like, you don't. It's hard to say, but I like going back to what he said. It definitely is going to bring scrutiny.
Yeah.
If you talk like that, or you had something like that in your past, I mean, I think.
But do you think it's justified though for people to bring up?
Justified? I mean, he's the one that brought it up, or that person is the one that brought it up and put it on social media. So they need to take responsibility for their words and their actions. I mean, if you say something that's out of step, the first thing you should do is, you know, apologize if you really believe that you're wrong. And then, you know, once you know you're wrong, you need to change.
That's that pattern.
And if you don't change, then you really ain't shit, really.
And the other part is, just because you had an epiphany don't mean I gotta fuck with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You don't.
Would you believe their apology though?
I mean,
because most of the shit that happens, these people they're just apologizing because.
I mean,
their publicist told them to.
That's probably 99% of the people that's apologizing, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like Maya Angelou said, or somebody said, some famous poet said, "You should believe me when I show you myself the first time." Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, hey, man, there's people, but we need everybody though.
Jax, what is your nationality?
I'm American.
I mean, what are you?
I'm nobody, man.
Yeah.
I'm from the world. I'm here. I'm from the soil. I'm from Oakland. You know what I mean? I've had many influences from all cultures.
Did you grow up mostly around black people?
I'm from Oakland.
That was a yes.
That's a yes.
That was a yes.
How do you feel? This is for the non-black people in the room. How do you feel about, I mean, you grew up around mostly black people, right? So how do you feel about other races using the N-word?
Wow. I've come through a long journey with that, man. Growing up, I've been called it so many times. I've used the word so many times. It was normal for me.
Have you been called it by your friends? Like, yo, what's up? Nigga?
All the time. You know, all the time. And
but
by
someone
people,
hasn't told you.
By people who didn't like me, by people that like me. You know, I mean, and it's one word, but it has so many different contexts and meanings, depending on how it's said and the context of who said it and why it was said, all kinds of stuff. But, you know, I try not to now.
So you used it in the past?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel like you have the right to use it since you grew up in the culture?
No.
Dirk, have you ever said the N-word?
Yeah, of course.
How? Like rapping to a song, or have you called a black person the N-word?
Making fun of other white people. Making
fun of other white people?
Yeah.
You called other white people nigga?
No. I like, you know, you get out and
say it. Don't slip and say it right now, though. I'm just. All right, continue.
You know, like making fun of rednecks, basically.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand it. Go deeper.
Fuck up.
I mean, my understanding is the word is embodiment of ignorance. Or at least that's the negative imagery that they're trying to throw on people when they say it.
I want to hear Diablo's redneck story. What? Tell me about this.
I mean, the history of this word is what matters, right? Mm-hmm. If it was a new word that kids made up and started calling each other today, nobody would care, right? There's a history to it and there's a power behind it, and that's why people care about it. And, you know, one of the secrets that, you know, white people don't usually talk about is that, especially in a place like Philly, other white people will come up to you and use it as a way of just sort of like seeing if they can get away with it. At least that's what it was like in the 90s when I lived there. Like, it was a way of, I guess, trying to, you know, get somebody to acknowledge that you were on their side in some way, right?
You said white people saying it to other white people,
So
or white people
that's like
going up
cultural appropriation, or
yeah.
No. Like they're using it in a clearly hard R N word.
Oh shit!
Oh, to incite somebody.
Shit.
Yeah,
What?
it's like a way of trying to get somebody to do like a secret handshake with you.
So way to get your ass beat.
Okay,
It's like a way of like identifying. It's like throwing a flag
I was trying to
up.
identify with the whole experience.
Shut
My
up,
bad,
nigga.
but now, no.
But yeah, no, it's like a way like a racist white person tries to identify whether or not you are also of that mindset and of that perspective. So you can be sitting at like the train stop.
That was you?
No, I'm saying people talk to me like that,
Okay.
right? Like they approach me in that
I see
way,
what you're saying. I see.
right? So it's a weird thing to experience. And the further you get outside of the city, the weirder it gets. And the more often it happens. So if you're like up in Allentown, there's like hardcore like neo-Nazi groups out in central Pennsylvania. And
You ain't got to go that far.
yeah, I mean, you don't got, I mean, there's everything's around here, right? California has everything.
Well, that's
But, you know, like the density within the population, once you're outside of either Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, central Pennsylvania, there's just a lot of shit kickers.
So the reason
and
why we had the Black
racist
Panthers in Oakland was because the cops here were racist.
Yeah. So that's still a huge part of this country. And, you know, when you get out into the sticks and there's really not a lot of black people around, there's kind of a presumption that like when, you know, you meet another white person, you want to make sure that they're like, you know,
Just as racist as you are.
exactly.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying it's like the racist check. Are you like black people? You don't like black people?
Yeah, they're just going to use the N word in front of you to see how you react.
Got you. And the key question I have for you is, how did you react?
I mean, I was in college and I felt uncomfortable.
Okay.
You know, and I'd be like, okay, I don't need to hang around with this person. But I never confronted anybody,
Gotcha.
you know, when I was like a kid. Because it's, you know, you also don't, you don't know who's got their back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually if somebody's like that comfortable, just like doing it, they're in a situation where they feel comfortable. They don't feel like they're at risk. They feel very safe in that situation. And anytime I would be in a situation like that, I was in my home turf. That's not where I lived.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be out visiting somebody. So you just kind of like, okay.
And that's currently what we're going through right now. People who disagree with racism but don't speak up on racism or speak up on racial events, it's no longer you could be quiet. Like,
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like right now, it's not, oh yeah, I'm against police brutality to black people, brown people, or whatever the case may be. No, we need you to fight with us if you really feel like that. We need your support. We need your voice. We need more white American males to be part of the cause, because the white American males is the ones who are controlling the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
It just ain't cool enough to be like you against racism no more. You got to be really against it. You got to be as mad about that shit as we mad about that shit. You got to be against the oppression. You got to be all the different things, like how you said in the sticks or whatever. It wasn't that many black people. That was systematically done. You know what I'm saying? They didn't give black people home loans to have own these homes in the suburbs. So they kept them in the
I'm not even talking the suburbs.
Yeah.
I'm talking like country.
Yeah, I mean, but look how much land you get. Like, you know what I'm saying? They didn't want them to own anything. So they keep them in the city, put them in the projects, and give them subsidized living and put this ceiling over your head. You can't make more than this, but if you don't make more than this, we're going to give you a home. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to give you the best jobs. We're not going to give you everything that this white male can acquire in the world, but we're going to give you enough to where you can be okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's like them even, well, in the 90s, like you said, or whatever, in the 90s and the 80s and whatever the case may be, in the 2020s, that shit's still going on today.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a change. And like how I always say, it's not even a white versus black thing or Asian versus this person thing or a Mexican versus thing. It's all about economics, bro.
Right
these motherfuckers, these top tier 5%, 1%ers, they running shit, bro.
Exactly.
How the fuck you complaining about taxes and you making millions and billions, and then we making thousands and y'all trying to tax the fuck out of us? Like the percentages we paying of our income compared to the percentages of what you paying income. Shit, what was it? Trillions of dollars came out. They gave us $1,200. They gave the companies $500 million. Like,
I think it was $4 trillion.
They did that months ago, and they expect that $1,200 to last.
Come on, bro. In the Bay Area, what is $1,200 gonna do?
That didn't do shit.
$1,200 ain't gonna pay for nothing.
I don't even think you can rent a room in the Bay Area for $1,200.
Man,
It's pretty tough.
You might be able to, but still.
It's only for a month.
Yeah, like 1 month.
And that's not going to cover, security deposit or anything like
It's not
that.
gonna
All right, so since we're on the subject of like policies and shit, Jack, did you vote recently for the presidential? When they had the little
Yeah, I had voted for
Super
Bernie
Tuesday.
Sanders.
You voted for Bernie.
Yeah, but he didn't make
Dirk, who did you vote for?
I voted for Bernie Sanders. You know that.
Yeah.
I don't vote.
Wait a minute. Time out.
I don't vote.
You sat here and said all this shit. Hold on, wait, no.
Like you just said, hold on, let me say something. The 1%, like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
They running shit, but we have the power to change shit with our votes.
I believe.
I don't know about that.
Time out. Wait,
you can
time.
nudge the needle with the vote,
Time
but
out,
really
time out.
changing things.
Time
Act
out.
locally.
Everybody.
Act locally. You know?
All right, no, let's
be more
I got a
mindful of your local
question. I have a
politicians.
question.
Go ahead.
Let's give Jordan his show back.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said you don't vote.
I do not vote.
Why do you not vote?
I mean, I feel is the most change that's going to happen. It comes from economics and money, and we got to pay lobbyists to get the right bills and stuff on the ballots. Half the shit we voting for, I could vote for the roads. The roads is still fucked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can say the vote is helping and stuff, but until we got the economic power to pay these lobbyists to get the right bills and right laws on there, it's still going to be something that's not working out.
Now I understand why you don't vote for the president, because I do vote, but I'm kind of in your mind frame that the president doesn't affect my day-to-day life. Now, when it comes to voting, it's more crucial to vote for
your local.
Now, do you do that?
I live in a different county than I work in, and my home is the county I work in. Mm-hmm. My home is not really the county I live in. You know.
So what county is these?
I live in Contra Costa County. My home is Alameda County. You know what I'm saying? Everything that affects me, really, truthfully, is in Alameda County, but I cannot vote in Alameda County. So I know more about Oakland politics than I know about where I live politics.
Now, Diablo, since you worked, Dirk, I'm sorry. I keep
That's all right.
Diablo. Dirk, you have a background in like politics and all this shit, right? Because
I've done some work.
All right, now, is that true that he cannot vote in Alameda County since he lives in Contra Costa?
Yeah, you vote where you live, where you get your mail.
Right.
Okay.
Let me just say something real quick, though. Like, I understand what you're saying about the roads and how the money gets misappropriated and how there's lots of yellow tape, that the money just gets shit all over the place and makes very little difference in the communities that is most needed. Mm-hmm. But I've seen firsthand some of the money go to good places that really take care and nurture the community. And if you don't vote, you allow the 1% and their controlling factors to put in policies and laws that serve them and not us. And so that's why we need to struggle against them in these voting. And I know it seems kind of hopeless and sometimes it just seems like a lot of bullshit. I believe, left wing, right wing, same chicken, politics, I get it. But you got to make it count where you can.
The other thing too is in California, there's always like some sort of ballot initiative.
Mhm.
I mean, the reason that we can all buy weed if we want to is because we all voted on it.
That was that unity and
That's-
some dollars
that's not
that
necessarily
made
helping the
weed
community, though.
possible.
So DA,
It was
so
a
when
lot
people,
of money that went behind that cannabis initiative.
when people,
Yeah, but
There was
people
a lot
still
of
had to
people in
vote.
the hood
People
that was
still had to go
making
out
a
and
living
vote
off
for
of
it.
selling that weed before it was legal.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying though. The people in the hood who went to jail and was getting 3 strikes for selling weed.
Exactly.
That they could, if they came together and tried to put that ballot initiative together, it wouldn't have never happened. When it came to that almighty dollar to put that ballot initiative to make it happen, it happened.
Of course.
And that's what that's why
Politics costs money.
and that's what I'm saying. The politics and the lobbyists that are being paid are paid for a certain reason. That's like your lawyer. You could be the God-fearingest most person in the world or whatever, but you're a defense attorney. You know what I'm saying? Like you gonna defend this man because he paying you.
that's why nobody should vote for Kamala Harris.
Why is that?
Just putting that out there.
Why?
Because she locked niggas up. That's why.
Okay, I understand.
Wait.
Okay, hold
Yeah,
on.
you cannot say shit about this conversation because you don't vote, nigga.
That's true. I'm not you.
But I mean, go
I
ahead.
wasn't gonna vote for her,
He
so
is-
I guess I can't support her, right? I guess
He is right though. He is right though. Because I mean, like, look, the money is still the big thing, and you know, I said this last time I was on. The reason, obviously, there was still a chance then that Bernie Sanders could have won, but the reason the powers that be circled the wagons and pushed Joe Biden down on us is basically the one reason is because Bernie Sanders didn't take any big money. He was the one candidate. If like you could actually become the most powerful person in the world, just raising small dollar donations and actually sending back the checks you get from billionaires, that undermines the entire system.
because now you have all the support. You have more support,
Right, because then you're not accountable to any of the big shots.
Because the other part is though, I could take the money from this one person, but if I could get 1 million people to give me the same money this one person gave me, now I got 1 million backing me.
Right, so
They're
all
not
the
on
people
a
you're talking
even
about.
playing field.
But how can someone accomplish? Do you know how expensive campaigns are? How can an ordinary? This is why ordinary people don't run and shit never changes. Because an ordinary person would be like, how the fuck? I mean, they could be smart. They can be from like the neighborhood and shit and know what the people want. But then they're gonna be like, how the fuck can I afford a campaign when
Why is that?
how can I get all this money when this person has millions and millions of dollars?
'Cause
How
the
can I
1% don't want anybody who ain't got shit to be running shit.
Yeah.
exactly? So how do you think is the answer to change that?
I'm gonna take the fifth.
What do you think?
What do you mean?
Because you literally just said this why shit don't change.
Wait.
But you pushing the vote.
Wait.
You
No one asked me questions.
Oh, my fault. You're the
I'm
everyday
not-
celebrity.
Yeah. People try, but I'm just here to get the views of the
Okay.
people. So what do you think?
I mean, like I said, man, I feel like everything in America is based off of economics for the most part. Everything, or even I think, you know what, and me being 39 years old, and my thought process and stuff or whatever, I feel like the census is very important. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's how the funding comes to the communities, is by how many people are in the communities and stuff like that or whatever. I feel like the census is something that we need to start pushing initiatives to.
I think the census is bullshit.
No, but look at it like this. Look at it like this.
How can you explain how Castlemont doesn't get money, but
exactly.
there's a school in Piedmont?
We need to count
millions.
Americans.
You
We
know
need to
why?
count
And
Americans.
they're in the same.
You know why?
They're in the same district.
We
You
need
know-
to just count people, not black people.
No, you
Asian
know why,
people,
though?
and
You know why,
Latino
though?
people and white people, because that's where we divide ourselves.
You know why though? Most people don't even do the census.
Yeah, no.
So,
Because they have the same views that you have about
who
voting.
is
They-
doing the census.
the people in Piedmont,
Right.
and that's what I'm saying. If the people in East Oakland would do the census, more money would come to East Oakland because the people
Not
would be counted.
necessarily.
But also, And also,
Look at the
those
roads.
funds?
Look at the roads in Piedmont.
Right.
Smooth as hell. Look at the
who's
roads.
managing
in
the
East
funds,
let's
though?
be honest.
Potholes like a motherfucker.
Let's be honest. Piedmont is actually part of Oakland, but they branched off and now they're their own city. Like
Now
almost.
there might be money allocated to help in East Oakland if more people voted and did the census, but would that money get implemented into the communities?
That comes down
My
to
question.
the councilmen
I
and
think
stuff like that.
I think it comes down to someone who actually knows how Oakland is, who knows Castlemont needs money and Piedmont doesn't. So a person who knows that will be good in decision making fucking settings. You know what I'm saying?
So
Piedmont has their own tax situation,
but Piedmont wasn't originally like that. Piedmont was part of
Oakland.
Piedmont was a part of
became their own
Oakland,
little
but that money
kingdom.
came in and they separated from Oakland.
Yep.
How is that possible?
Because they had money. Piedmont is literally part of Oakland, California. Piedmont is a neighborhood in
lobbyists,
Oakland, California. Piedmont is now Piedmont, California.
Money. Did I say money?
Yeah, they had money. Money moves the world.
I mean, yeah, everybody knows that.
Exactly. We gotta have a unified dollar for something. No matter what's going on, we gotta have some sort of unified dollar for something.
Unified dollar?
Unified money, or
You
whatever.
know, like a world currency or something?
No. I'm saying we gotta all come together and spend money on attacking this one thing.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I'm here with this, I'm here with this, I'm here with this, I'm here with this. Come support me, come support me, come support me. No, come support this year. Let's get this changed this year. Because the civil rights movement happened in the 60s, right?
Mhm.
Let's imagine if we had unified attack every year, we probably could have had 40 different changes over the last 40 years.
But why didn't he?
I mean, it's a lot. We not unified.
I'll
I'll
answer that question.
We get past. Yeah.
Let me this brings up
And the shit stays
another
the same.
question.
Yeah.
But you happy for another 20 years?
Because half the people were like, oh, I'm cool with this, and the other half is like, no, we need to keep fighting. Like it's even just like
we need to
with,
keep fighting.
yeah, I feel like we always need to keep fighting. Like I do.
We do.
Let me ask this question about the civil rights movement. Do you think that the civil rights movement was a mistake? And when I say it was a mistake, is because why were these black people fighting? They were basically fighting. Like, why would you want to be in a restaurant with these racist white people? Stay with your own people and have a restaurant. Why would you want to?
When we had our own,
Who gives a fuck about being able to sit in the
Yeah.
front of the bus with these racist white people?
yeah.
I don't think
Get
it
your
was
own
about
bus
that.
company and get on the bus.
I don't think it was about
So
that.
when
Those were situations.
when
that-
I say
my
when
bad.
I
Go
say
ahead.
when I say the civil rights, do you think the civil rights movement was a mistake? Because the civil rights movement basically made black people go spend money after it was make black people go spend money on white things instead of
Keep it in the community.
keeping it in the community. So if we were separated, just like that, what's the Tulsa thing where the Black Wall Street. The Black Wall Street. Imagine that could have been everywhere.
Yeah, but what did they do to the
civil
Black
rights
Wall
movement-
Street?
If the civil rights movement never happened and black people were like, okay, y'all want to be separated? All right, we're going to be here. Y'all going to be there. We're going to build this foundation and become powerful enough to where you're going to have to give us, but you're basically going to have to split the United States in half. And if that would have happened, do you think white people would have stayed on that side? The majority of the motherfuckers would have came on the black side, and because the music,
We saw what
the
happened.
partying.
Yeah, what happened in Tulsa, though?
We saw what happened when they did that.
Yeah, I know that.
They didn't let it ride.
Not to mention, they were
answer-
like bombing churches.
Answer that question. Do you think it was a mistake, the civil rights movement? Or do you think we needed that?
It's a more complex question for me to answer in one simple instance like what you're saying, because you're bringing up something that I've never wrapped my mind around before. I mean, how you brought up that it could have impacted black community economics in a negative way in terms of spending money in white stores or 1% stores. That's a deep thought, man, and I got to wrestle with that for a little while before I kind of condemn the movement
Because if you listen to Malcolm X and Farrakhan, they want separation.
I mean, Malcolm X said lots of things, and some of that changed after he did his Hajj. So you know what I mean. I mean, to quote him after he's gone, I mean, I think you need to bring up the context and what he was talking about. But as far as do I think that the civil rights movement was a mistake? I don't think so. Do I think things have changed? Yes, they have changed, but things remain a lot the same. We're still slaves to the economy and our mortgages and our rents and our car payments and our fancy baubles of economic success. But are we really free?
I feel like the Black community was stronger, even just to even come together for the civil rights. I don't think the civil rights was a mistake, but I do think that what they were trying to do, like asking your oppressors to treat you equally, was never going to happen. Because human nature, if you're in power, you're not going to give up your power. You're a supervisor on a job. You're not going to be like, I don't want to be the supervisor more. Let me go back to being a regular worker. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's human nature. You're not going to give up your power. So once they did what they did with the civil rights movement, the powers that be appeased a lot of people. And then it stopped the rioting, it stopped the marching, it stopped this, it stopped that, or whatever. But we still fighting for the same thing they was fighting for in the 60s.
They still mention people. They still shoot people in the back. They still breaking in people's homes and shooting them dead in their home.
What I can say is the black dollar was way stronger back then. And our grandmothers was buying homes, and everybody's family had family homes and stuff like that, and everything or whatever. And our generational wealth was starting, even though we didn't have it before that or whatever, but it was starting or whatever. And then nowadays or whatever, the black dollar stays in the community for like one time. Before it leaves. It's supposed to stay 7 to 12 times or something like that. But I'm not gonna say it was a mistake. I just feel like it could have been utilized a little bit better. And we needed some black leadership in major roles, and we never got that.
Well, we did, and what happened to them is they got assassinated. Or strung out on drugs, or caught up on bullshit cases. That's
what I'm saying, though. I'm talking about actual, not I'm gonna put you here then kill you. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because they're killing them to scare
a martyr.
Yeah, exactly. They're killing them to be like, yeah, you could get all this power you want, but you're not gonna ever get to where we don't want you to be. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So the powers that be always had the power, and we still fighting for the same things. Literally, we fighting for the same things. No matter how much success us as minorities have or whatever, we're still fighting for the same basic human things.
You know what? Well, we need to come together, though, all of us, including white folks who are not part of the 1%, to really affect the change.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Dirk, how do you feel about the Karens, this whole Karen movement?
I'm against it.
What you mean? People going to jail for fake police phone calls?
Or people being like Karens?
No, yeah, we got to figure this out.
I'm against.
Yeah, talk to me.
I'm against whatever set of behavior makes somebody a Karen. Right. I'm not down with that. Look, they've been around Barbecue Becky. That was 2 years ago, right?
They've been around for years.
I think it's good that they're getting some attention and people are putting them up on social media.
Emmett Till?
That was the first Karen?
No,
not the first.
No,
she might be one of the most famous instances, but she wasn't.
One thing about Emmett Till.
She wasn't the last.
Yeah.
Emmett Till, the people who killed him are still alive, just walking the street. The girl who accused him is still alive. She's living somewhere in the South. I think in Mississippi still. Has a son who's a cop, so you can imagine what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, how they raised their son.
And the guy the guy, there was they did a movie about Emmett Till, and there was the white people who, the crazy thing is about the white people who dragged him out of the house, they were helped by black people that were working for the white people.
Man,
Dragged him out of the house. But the whole thing is that they're still alive and walking the street. Nothing happened to them. So what I don't understand is,
but I mean, all these companies have the wealth.
how are you letting these people just walk around?
Because the powers that be are racist. Them dead people.
I'm talking about if Emmett Till is your cousin and you were in the house when he dragged out, and then the dude is still alive walking the street, how come do street justice? How come street justice is not happening?
Because
Some people are real spiritual.
Black people are the most forgiving people in the world.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, I'm tired of that shit. Black people need to stop.
Oh my God,
they didn't put it but too much for too long.
Yeah, but half the street justice, these niggas, excuse me, they be lying. Ain't nobody killing for people out here or whatever. Oh, that's my brother. I'm gonna kill for him. No, that.
All right, let me ask this question.
There's too much lies.
Everyone here has sons, right?
Yeah,
I believe. Now we see a lot of police brutality, a lot of police killing unarmed black men. What would you do, each one of you guys? What would you do if you're at home and then you get a call saying that your son was murdered? Well, they didn't say murdered at first. He was shot by a police officer. And then a couple of weeks go by. Then a videotape comes out to where your son wasn't resisting arrest. So basically like the George Floyd thing.
Streets is real hot.
But but in this case, it was your son, your like teenage
Streets
son.
is real
what
hot.
would each one of you guys do?
Streets is real hot.
They wouldn't be able to stop me. Like, they wouldn't be able to stop me. I'd take that charge though. I'll take it. I mean, at the end of the day, he wasn't gonna go to jail. He getting paid. He killed my son. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I go to jail for life or whatever the case may be, that's what. So be it. But you're not about to value my son's life to nothing. You feel me? I was part of that boy's birth. I was part of that boy's growing up. I was part of everything, every breath of this boy took or whatever. You feel me? And at the end of the day, my job as a father is to protect and provide. And I didn't protect him in this instance, but I showed it get even.
Dirk, what would you do?
talk to my lawyer. See what we could do.
Okay.
You gotta do what you gotta do, but they ain't gonna bring him back. And neither would, retribution.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna bring him back. But
the people can only put up with so much though.
My son, man, I'm gonna look at it like this, right? And maybe I'm speaking because like you saying it and I would be amped up and hot, or I'll be working off all emotion or whatever. But at the same time or whatever, like losing a child is like the worst thing for a parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, so me knowing me, I know I would be trying to do something for retribution. Now, what the whole, is it going to be, oh, I'm about to sit outside his house for the next 3, 4, 5 days and all this other stuff and all that other stuff? Maybe not. But at the same time, though, you not about to just get paid leave, though. You not doing that, bruh. Like, you really not doing that. You not about to do that. You just not. It's not. And you want to act like you was in the streets and kill my son or whatever. This how the streets is. You acted like your boys had your back, the boys in blue and all that other stuff, but that's why the police are gangs. Like, you know what I'm saying? They feel like they can do anything and it be justified. But if I go do something and they just said I did it, they don't even have to have proof I did it. They just said I did it. They about to throw me in jail for life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not even playing field. And me just being a human being or whatever, and the laws of this world and land or whatever, that if the laws of the world and land ain't right, I don't have to live by that. Like, when my son was born in this world, my job was to protect and provide for him. And if I feel like I didn't protect for him, I have to do something to feel like I at least did something to protect him.
Do you guys all go out to the protests, like, at any point?
I did. I went out for the first weekend when I was out there when like the shit started, when everything got burnt down and shit.
Yeah, I was out like Sunday and Monday after that. I wasn't quite as crazy. I don't think it was the first 2 days.
This is brings up to a next question. Yeah, you are a business owner, correct?
Yeah.
Now, this question is for everybody to answer, but let's start off with you first. How do you feel about when the protests they were burning down buildings, breaking into buildings? How do you feel about that?
I felt like straight up, and I said it or whatever. Your enemy ain't the mom and pops, it's the cops or whatever at first or whatever. But I do feel like the riots and the burning down, and actually not even what was happening in Oakland was a necessary evil. What was happening in Walnut Creek, what was happening in Pleasant Hill, what was happening in all these different white communities or whatever, and taking that out of the area of the urban Oakland and Berkeley and all that other stuff, taking it and seeing like, nah, we really fed up. We're coming to you now with these problems. Best Buy and Walnut Creek Concord getting raided and stuff. I feel like it was a necessary evil. They got insurance or whatever. The mom and pops or whatever, the mom and pops ain't really part of the 1%ers. So like I feel for them, and I felt like they need to protect those mom and pop shops or whatever, because mind you, we just went through the COVID thing. We all self-employed. We didn't have the ability to get any type of real assistance besides taking out a loan that really they wasn't even really trying to give us. They gave all the money to the big corporations first before they even gave it to the small business through the SBA or whatever. And then it was we just went through that COVID stuff, and then now we got to come board up our windows or we just struggled to pay the rent because we're not making income for the last couple of months or whatever. I really felt like the mom and pops needed to be protect the mom and pops at all costs. If corporate entities and stuff like that or whatever, if you burn it down or whatever, hey, you part of the 1% to me. But the mom and pops, I felt like you should protect them.
Anyone else?
Well, I don't necessarily attribute those financial casualties to the movement. I think a lot of that was some bullshit that whoever was against the BLM movement was trying to muddy the message and, add different kinds of flavor to, so they could kind of like drag us through the mud, so to speak. And I don't think, like, I agree with you, DH, whatever happened for the mom and pops, that's fucked up, and the 1%, like Walmarts and Best Buys, they do have insurance. Still don't necessarily make it right, because that's your community that you shop at. Don't fuck up your own community where you live. It's not the community stores that are the enemy, and it's not the police per se. I mean, the police work for the enemy, but they're just pawns in the game. It's the 1%, whoever they be. And they're not all white. They're Asian, they're African, they're Latino.
It's all that economics.
But they're rich.
Yeah.
And they want to protect their money.
At all costs.
Dirk, what's your view on that? On the violent protest?
Well, I mean, I didn't do anything violent. I did have to scold some Antifa kid for spray painting the Oakland library. I was like, this is a library, dude. You don't need to put all cops are bastard on the library. Go put it someplace else.
People already know that. You ain't got to spray paint that.
Well, I mean, he was just like, he's a white kid. Had the whole like Antifa hoodie outfit out there playing like an adventure, whatever. I'm going to tag up everything. Like,
So do you agree with the violent protest? Do you think it's necessary, equally necessary as peaceful protest?
Well, look, I think the cops are the ones who made it violent. And I'll say on Monday night, when they actually had the organized march, started at Oakland Tech High School, went all the way down Broadway. Yeah, this is like the first night that they put the curfew in place. They put the curfew in place so that they could tear gas protesters. Because
that's exactly what happened. I was there too.
Yeah, like everything was chill. People were all wearing masks and everything, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, people weren't socially distant because it was a a protest march, but pretty much everybody was masked up. And the people who had organized it were telling people like at 7:00 when people stopped speaking at City Hall, we're going to march down to the police station, but then after that, it's time to disperse. And everything was basically chill. Like people were yelling or chanting, right? It's a protest. So there's protest chants, things like that. And, but nobody was like trying to cross the barrier, or, come past like the police line that they had set up. And it was so chill. I was getting bored, and it was like, probably must have been like 7:40, right? And it was the only time I'd come off of Alameda was since quarantine started, was for those 2 nights, Sunday and Monday night, when the protest started. And I had ridden my bike to the tunnel, walked through the tunnel, and come through.
Ooh. The air in there, though.
Well, just wait, because the air in there is pretty nasty, generally speaking. But I'm like, it's 7:40. I should at least try to get back into Alameda and on my bike by 8:00 when the curfew starts. Because I don't need any trouble in my life. So I start walking down 8th Street, and I get up to I guess like Franklin, right? And there's just like 4 white police vans filled with cops in riot gear, just waiting to go. And I'm like, I pulled my phone out and I like make a video just walking past them. I'm like, they're really expecting something to pop off here, And by the time I get down to like 7th and Franklin, I hear the, pop, pop. I'm like, I see a couple, kids walking towards me. I'm like, is that tear gas? And he's like, yep. Everything was totally peaceful. And I like look up the block and like, sure enough, all those police vans are swinging around the block. And so I'm walking with these kids. They're going back to Alameda too. So I'm like, all right, I'll show you how to get to the tunnel to get back. Because I guess they had like taken the bus into Oakland or something. They couldn't get the bus to go back because of the curfew. So I'm like, I'll show you how to get back. And the next block, there was 4 more police vans lined up, ready to go. And, I didn't get hit with it directly, but like by the time we got to the tunnel, it was everywhere in the air. And in that situation, the only time I went into the Alameda tunnel, and I actually felt like I was getting fresh air.
Oh, shit. Wow.
All right, so what I'm getting from that is you don't agree with the violent protest, but you think the police are the reasons it becomes violent. That's what.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't look. As far as like looting, I think there's people who are opportunists. I don't think that they're necessarily. I mean, here's the thing about it. Like when you have a spontaneous protest that just happens, is by its nature, it's disorganized. And there's going to be a certain amount of chaos that comes along with that. So you're going to see broken windows. You're going to see people spray painting things. And frankly, you're going to see people who, take the opportunity to get something that they might not have otherwise. And I think what's missing from a lot of the conversation about the looting in particular are the underlying economic factors where, and there's actually, it was, I forget exactly what society it was. I'll send you the link if you want it though. But it was like King writing to like the, Society of Academic Sociologists or something like that about what they should be focused on and what they should be studying. And he, wrote very, about this specific thing that happens, where like when there is a protest, when there are riots, what do you make of the looting? How do you look at this sociologically? And what are the circumstances that people are in where they see this one moment as the opportunity to maybe have that television that under no other circumstances would they be able to afford, right? And they take advantage of it. So I think that when you see things like that happen, especially in a moment where you have a genuine, uprising of social protest about something that I think most people, when you watch that video of George Floyd being killed, like it's really uncomfortable. You know, I think for everyone who sees that, you're watching a man being killed. And the people who are doing it don't give a shit, you know? So in those moments, you know, there's a reason that, you know, people are willing to break social contract entirely and just say like, okay, I'm going to take this moment to go steal something. And what's the reason that the social contract is so weak? That people don't feel an obligation to just the way that our society is structured and wealth is distributed? What is it about the way that we do things that make people just be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to go get myself a TV. Or I'm going to get whatever I can right now. And I mean, in a lot of ways, that's really the message that, you know, I would say capitalist culture sends to people generally. Get what you can while you can get it. Right. And get as much of it as you can. And so people looting, you know, in a moment like this, they are following the mandate of capitalism.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, if you want a different social contract, we need to rewrite the social contract.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I think that's something that, you know, is kind of missing from all the conversations that we're having is we kind of need to do like a page one rewrite. It's like we need a constitutional convention or something, you know?
That would never happen though.
It can happen if 3/4 of the states vote for it to happen. I agree with you. You'll never get it through Congress. You know,
there's too many people who think the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is so sacred. Even though when those shits were created, they weren't created with the mindset of blacks, Mexicans, Indians. It was created for white people.
Look at the forefathers. Who created it? Look at the type of men they were or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't thinking about nobody but their own people. Exactly. And so the sacredity of that is us just saying, oh, this is how it's been for this long or whatever. But change has to happen. 2020 is not 1492 when Columbus sailed ocean blue or nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is different. And we know who they were. Like, we know what type of person this is. So now if your boss is a racist or your boss has slaves or whatever, just because he's your boss, does it make everything he do okay? It wouldn't. You wouldn't want to work for him. You wouldn't want to follow his rules. You wouldn't want to follow his standards because his ideologies and his mindset ain't matching the masses. And they give it the sacredity, but I don't think it deserves that. It's just older way of thinking. It's time for a change at the end of the day.
And how would that happen?
Huh?
Money. We going back to the economics of the life.
Well, I was going to say that kind of the same thing. I would say, you know, we really have to start looking at the world as for actually what it is. And I think like this whole COVID-19 situation is a great example of that. But I mean, basically everything in this world exists so that the super, super rich people can gamble in this casino called the stock market. Mm-hmm. And it's not really about ever spending any of that money. Mm-hmm. It's just about having the higher chip stack than like, you know, the guy to your right or the guy to your left, you know, the other billionaires that you're competing with. Cause like you can still only wear one pair of pants at a time. You can only eat lunch once a day.
You still get buried in the same dirt.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But basically like the most powerful people in the world, the way that they keep score is through how the stock market performs. Right. And our government, their primary function is not to serve us. Right? And we see this with the COVID situation, with the $4 trillion of liquidity that they pumped into the stock market. Mm-hmm. I mean, basically what happened was like this virus came along and the economy was about to grind to a standstill, right? Mm-hmm. You know, it's almost like, you know, if you were in a casino and like the power went out and the emergency lighting came on and the casino was just like, we don't want people to leave. So we're just going to comp everybody like a rack, you know, so they keep playing, right? That's what they did. They didn't take care of any of the regular people, right? The first thing they did was make sure that people kept playing, that the tables kept moving. And that's what our entire economy centered around, not just in this country, but like, that's what the global economy is. It's really for billionaires to gamble, right? And the only thing, in some ways you're on point, because really voting isn't being in that game. The only way to get into that game is to actually play yourself, right? I mean, you start small time, but you buy some stock, right? And then, but you're still just fucking gambling, right? You're still in a game that you're never going to like really win. Your biggest hope is that you win enough that like someday you don't have to work anymore. And you can live off your winnings, right? And this is kind of how they get everybody to buy into it too, right? This is the whole thing when George Bush wanted to privatize Social Security and everybody just gets a little stock market account. In that case, and we're all bought into it, you're not going to get a popular uprising because people are just like, yeah, no, the casino, that's what supports all of us.
Right.
Okay. And I mean, it's a little more complicated than just like, blackjack or poker or something like that. It's more like horse racing because everybody's betting on companies that actually produce something. And, when those companies only win when they sell their products, and the types of products that they make, either we have to buy or they have to kill people. Right?
Deliver.
Let me ask this question. So since we're on the COVID-19 thing, Jax, you're an electrician, correct?
Yep.
And you work for UC Berkeley?
That's right.
How do you feel about you still having to come to work when the whole school was shut down?
I don't have to come to work.
You don't?
No, I can stay home.
What?
You know what I'm saying? I mean, they don't have to pay me for that, but
employee?
I mean, I consider.
I know you can stay home if you want to. But
Yeah,
I'm saying,
how
do you feel
life
about
is what you make it.
How do you feel about this? Them?
I
they
feel
care
like
about
I'm a
more of the
slave to
students.
the societal norms. I mean, I got a job, I got bills to pay, I got kids to feed.
So you don't care about it?
I care about it, but like I said, I mean, you think the slaves wanted to pick the cotton?
Well, no,
But they kept getting
no
up,
choice.
and I ain't got no choice either. I mean, I can not go, but then what am I gonna do? I'm gonna hustle. I mean, hustling in the time of COVID is harder too. I mean,
So
you gotta pay the bills.
all right. So this question is for everybody. Do you agree with the reopening
No.
across the country? Like these reopenings that were going on across the country, and now they have this big surge.
No.
Do you agree with them reopening? Because, and why do you think they were reopening?
I mean, they so scared about the economy, but they got billions of dollars to spend on these tanks and planes that never get flown and used, or maybe they do, but they ain't doing shit here. They're fucking up other countries, and we're fucking up our foreign policies with other people's. Instead of giving it to our people who need it here, let's take some of them billions of dollars that we use off of these missiles and tanks and planes and give it back to the people who put it there, the taxpayers. But they don't want to do that. They want us to keep grinding on the wheel, the hamster wheel, so like you said, the economy can keep moving, so they can keep their money, so they can keep playing the stock market while we die. We're just fodder for them.
Okay. Anyone else?
I mean, I feel like this about the reopening or whatever. It's too soon because nobody knows, but it's not we're not going to never get back to some sort of normalcy without us getting back out there, no matter what the case is. I felt like they messed it up from the jump. They literally I think they should have did was just freeze all the bills and just tell people you have to stay home for 3 months or 4 months or whatever. Like there's no bill. You wouldn't have to worry about work if all your bills was frozen. Like everybody in the world, not in the world, in America's bills was just frozen. You didn't have to worry about PG&E, not no furloughs, not no deferments, not nothing. Just for the next 6 months, there will be no bill acquired. Like we just literally, we need you to stay home for the greater good. If you need food, we will give you food stamps. If you need certain things or whatever, we will provide it for you. You know what I'm saying? We're all out here trying to hustle, go to work or whatever the case is because we don't want us to lose what we've been working for the last 20, 30, 40 years or whatever. So I have to pay these bills. I have to do this. I have to do that or whatever. How they did it was wrong from the jump, because the essential workers are still around the people who's quarantined. Everybody, no matter if you're sick, not sick, whatever the case is, everybody can go to the grocery store.
Right.
Them $12 an hour workers are not scrubbing that grocery store down all day, every day, or whatever, making it sanitary. So somebody's bringing COVID into the grocery store where everybody can go to, or whatever. It's a virus, it's a disease, or whatever the case is. We really needed to quarantine, like a real quarantine. I'm not gonna say like one of the movies or something or whatever, where only people outside is in the bodysuits and stuff or whatever, but something like that might have stopped the rise or whatever the case is. But we're all worried about the financial displacement that we will go through if we don't go to work, or if I don't have food to provide for my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're worried about the basic necessities that we have or whatever. But if they would have just stopped bills all around the board, people could have been at home with no worries, because I'm not getting a mortgage payment. I'm not getting rent. My landlord is not looking for rent because he doesn't have to pay his mortgage. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't need to be making money the next 6 months, because he literally has to pay for nothing either. Everybody.
But what was you saying that when we first sat down, though?
It's all about the money.
Right. So
it's
the money people, the 1% that's not going to let that ride, right? Because they're the ones that still get money.
They actually got rich during the COVID-19.
I mean, they get rich all the time.
Amazon.
During the Depression,
they got literally
when upswing, they making money all the time.
Saying they was making 75 billion and trillion and what? Like, come on.
Yeah, because they
got
pumped
the toilet paper
$4 trillion into the casino.
While we fighting for toilet paper, I agree with you. While we fighting for toilet paper, he over there tripling his net worth after a divorce.
That's why I tell everybody,
after he lost half his
go
money.
inside when the chemtrails is out there.
Like
he's not yet, but like, look, everything that we did in this country, and it really does seem like the elites are just testing us to see like how much we'll put up with by how badly they're doing it. Not every country's done it perfectly, but literally like Germany, France, England, Canada, all the European countries, they didn't do this crazy $1,200 check thing. They didn't do like, oh, we'll give you unemployment. No, they just funded payroll to like 80%, 75, 80%, right? So everybody kept their jobs and the government just picked up the payroll, right? Now you didn't get like your full check, but you got like 75 or 80% of it. And, especially in our society where staying at your job is also staying on your health insurance, this was kind of crazy that we didn't do that or didn't even try to do it. There's one time $1,200 and then whatever $600, padding they put onto unemployment insurance, that's not going to do it. But like ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like people aren't going to go back out just because they reopen. So, some of them are like, and there is like a weird culty thing happening in our society.
Bars open up, motherfuckers go be in them shit.
Because they've been bored in the house and oh man, I can't wait to get back here.
Right.
Yeah, but like,
but that's why the spread, because I went to Atlanta, right? And when I went to Atlanta, they make you sign a waiver to enter the clubs, so they're not held liable if you get sick. So that's going to be like the new norm too. People are really going to be signing their rights away to enter these places.
And I mean, like, what are you going to do? Bars are one thing, but you think people are going to go to the movie theater or get on like a Greyhound? Or,
if the Warriors play, the arena will be packed. I know that, but like I'm saying, with sports,
I don't know.
I mean, sports is part of our culture, and people are thirsty for sports right now.
I think that's probably true.
Imagine a whole bunch of people yelling and screaming with their spit flying out.
Nah, but it's gonna be mask necessary.
I mean, it's the law right now to be wearing masks, but we not wearing masks right now. We talking.
That's true. That's true.
People are outside right now. Bicycles jogging with no mask, walking their dogs with no mask. And people.
If you're outside, it's not. This is probably the most dangerous situation we can be in. Just 5 people in a room together on masks. But, like, to be fair, like, I get this email, like, every week from the city of Alameda. It tells me, like, how many cases there are, right? Alameda County it's not that bad. Like there's 7,725 cases. I looked just today.
Apparently,
And that's for, like 1.6 million people who live in Alameda County, and Alameda County spreads all the way down to the South Bay, right? So odds are pretty good that none of us have it. But I mean, at the same time, and like I said, I haven't even left the island of Alameda. Like I've barely left my house since this whole thing started, right? The only person I've really been in contact with for any extended period of time has been my kid, right? And he's pretty much been inside the whole time anyway. So also, I'm relatively young, relatively healthy. I do kind of think everybody's just going to get it at some point.
All right, great.
But I honestly think as far as the economy goes, your question, like, should we be opening up? I don't know if it matters. Like, I don't think the economy is going to come charging back. I think people are freaked out.
Yeah, I know some people still scared. I know a lot of people still scared.
People are dying.
But like I tell everybody, so if the powers that be tell you could come outside, you gonna just come outside now? What was the difference 2-3 months ago?
That's
you know what I'm saying?
And nothing would change unless there's a cure. And as long as there's no cure,
but everybody's not even tested.
Motherfuckers would die.
We got a lot of sheeple out here too.
So this is my last question. I have one more question for everybody. The NBA is about to start. Who do you got?
Who do you got?
Jax.
Man.
The Warriors ain't playing, I guess. So they gotta pick somebody else.
You know what? It's anybody's ball game, really. I mean,
So
a
you
young
don't gotta
buck
pick?
I'm just saying though, let me speak. The Pelicans might do something, you never know. Like,
That's your pick?
no, that's not my pick. I'm just saying it's wide open. You don't know, like, let's say LeBron James and the Lakers are the front runners.
Well, who do you like?
But just say, what if AD or LeBron comes down with COVID right before the playoff?
Okay.
All bets is off. So you don't really know what's going to happen with COVID.
Who are you leaning toward right now?
I mean, honestly, I would say I think the Lakers look good. They keep on picking up new pieces as we speak.
All right. Dirk, who do you got? Do you watch basketball?
I don't watch sports at all.
All right.
I don't know.
I'm a nerd.
I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lean. I mean, I felt like LeBron and them, they was gonna do it for Kobe before all this happened or whatever. I thought the Clippers were very strong. I thought the Bucks or whatever. But it's all about who comes out this quarantine playing the hardest and the hottest or whatever, because it's really a short season and pretty much everybody's rested. So it's like now it's about who's about to play the hardest and get hot or whatever. So, and then like the scenario where they're all playing in the same area, same arena or whatever, they about to be socializing, talking a whole bunch of shit. It could, like, I don't know if y'all watch the Chicago Bulls thing or whatever, Jordan would pump himself up, making shit up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he played hella hard or whatever. But now all it could be is they all in the same area and be like, hey, Giannis, LeBron talking hella shit over there about you. You know what I'm saying? And Giannis might go drop 70 or something. Like, I don't know what it is, because they're all gonna be in this bubble. So at the end of the day or whatever, and like you said, somebody could catch COVID that might be a key piece.
So you got Milwaukee, that's what you're saying?
Nah, I mean, I really got the NFL season, because this NBA season is a wash for the most part. I really think it's a wash. This is about to be funny, them coming in and play in this bubble. It's going to be funny, but I mean, at the
24-hour fitness. Man.
Yeah, it's going to you're going to hear all the squeaking of the shoes and the whistles and stuff or whatever. So
And the shit talking.
Yeah, you're going to hear it all. You're going to hear it all. It's going to be like practice or whatever. So I don't know.
All right. So this episode, we have our first sponsor.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
I mean,
congrats,
he's
man.
not a sponsor, but it's a nigga with some shirts. This episode is brought to you by We the People Social Group. It's a social group. I mean, saying it's a good brand clothing. You can get their clothing at WTPSG.com. Check them out on Instagram at 4+5 and make hats, shirts, stickers. You just gotta wait for the shit, because I asked for a shirt and it's been a minute.
You already shouting him out. You're a good dude. You're a good dude. You didn't even get your product yet. You a good dude.
So check them out on Instagram, 4+5. It's We the People Social Group. WTPSG.com and order some merchandise, order some clothing. They're local. They're Oakland based. And that's what we do here on Everyday Celebrity. We support people in the neighborhood, ordinary people who are trying to do big things. And this is a time of the episode where my guests can shout out or promote themselves. Like if you have a friend, if you have a company or whatever you want to promote, this is your time to tell the people. If people want to get in contact with you, give them your Instagram or whatever you want to divulge. I mean, thousands of people listen to it. I'm the number 3 in the Bay Area. Y'all niggas didn't know. So
Speak.
DH, how can the people get in contact with you if you want to shout out your business, your barbershop?
My Instagram is DH None Other. Mr. None Other. I do a couple of little things or whatever, and man, family first. I'm a father first, a husband first, and just an entrepreneur trying to do the best I can with what I can. So.
And what's the name of your barbershop?
Oakland Clippers.
Where can they find that?
We're closed right now because of COVID-19 quarantine. So, but you know, I do have a link in my bio if you would like to make an appointment or whatever. So.
And that's located in Oakland or Berkeley?
In Oakland, California, North Oakland, 59th and Shattuck.
All right. Dirk?
Diablo Neruda. That's like Pablo Neruda, but Diablo on Instagram and Twitter. If you want to follow me, you can find me there. If you're looking to organize the East Bay DSA, if you want to figure out how to start a union or do any of that stuff, they can help you out.
Jax.
Hey, well, Oakland Jax on Instagram. Don't follow me if you got some bullshit to say. Black Lives Matter. Power to the people. Keep it real and keep it right.
All right. Well, thank you, Jax. Thanks, Dirk. Thanks, DH, for this great conversation. Follow these people. Dig in their lives. I'm saying they might offer you some knowledge if you don't have any. Yes, 3 different people, 3 different lives, 3 different backgrounds. That's the whole point of this episode. And you know where to reach me at Everyday Celebrity media.com, Everyday Celebrity PO on Twitter, Everyday Celebrity Media CO on Instagram, and my personal Instagram is Jordan Owandi. And these people will be tagged on my stories also, if you want to reach out to them. And that's it. We are out.
Appreciate you.
Peace.
Thanks.